But after we've encountered the risen Savior, and after that the power of God has worked in us in such a way that things that used to hold us back hold us no more, things that used to cause us to be fearful cause us to be fearful no more. Something broke inside of us when we began to receive Jesus Christ. And then when you begin to understand that He's the Lamb that was slain on your behalf, that your salvation was already concluded in the mind of God before the beginning, before Genesis 1:1, well then when you start taking up the Word and you begin to understand that about God and about the revelation of God in Jesus Christ, then the Scriptures begin to have a new life. And that new life is expressed in the fact that God was preaching Jesus Christ from Genesis 1:1. That's why the creation account was given in the way that it was, so that you can comprehend that God had your salvation in mind before the foundation of the world. As you begin to read as you read through the Scriptures and as you come to the book of Revelation, you find a lot of titles there ascribed to Jesus Christ. Many of them are ascribed by Christ Himself. And there are some of the most beautiful titles that you will find in all of Scriptures, from the Lion of the tribe of Judah, to the root and the offspring of David, the beginning of the creation of God, the Lamb that was slain from the foundation of the world. And those titles in particular I want to talk about. The Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. In the New Testament we find that the work of God through Jesus Christ was somehow complete before the actual manifestation of it happened in history, because that it was already concluded in the mind of God before the foundation of the world. And as we begin to understand that by the teaching of the New Testament, when we begin to handle the Old Testament, even all the way back in Genesis, we begin to see that that is something that begins to be unfurled. That's something that begins to be unrolled like a scroll, where the Lord Himself is making known, even from the very beginning, that which would later be fulfilled in the body and in the work and in the teaching and in the resurrection and the revelation of Jesus Christ. So as we began to read through Genesis 1:1, you're going to encounter a verb, bereshit bara. The verb is bara, and it means to create. It also has with it the essence of cutting out. And the only way I know to express this is that before the creation, that everything was concluded in the mind and the counsel and the foreknowledge of God. It was done. It was a sealed book. It was over, except for one thing, and that's that God stretched out the heavens and the earth, and in the dimension of time and space, He began to manifest that which was already concluded in His mind before the foundation of the world. And that's why the New Testament teaches that Christ was the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The work was finished. That's why it said that God ceased from His works. But yet here we see that in time, in the fullness of time, to use the language of the Scriptures, Jesus Christ was made manifest for you to receive Him, and having received Him, that you can be transformed from what you were before you received Him into a creature that can never die.